I feel like a conversation a lot of people don't want to have and aren't ready to have yet is how misunderstood and misrepresented feminism is. If you were a feminist, you would not believe that it's a man's role to provide for you. You would believe that you are supposed to provide for yourself and you can be independent as a woman.
See, this type of feminist I respect. This type of feminist I like, because she is saying that in real feminism, in actual equality, men and women are equal, which means these men shouldn't be expected to pay 100% of the bill. They shouldn't be expected to keep you safe. They shouldn't be expected to do these things because you all said you hate the patriarchy so fucking much that you should be cool with that, but you're not. But you're not, because you still want the men to pay for the things, and you still want the men to get up for you so that way you can have a seat on the train. You still want to be treated special. And somebody commented this on my video, and I can't stop thinking about it. He said that women want the respect of men, the responsibility of children, and the privileges of being a woman. Damn, that's good. That's good.
Now, call me crazy if you want, but I am a recovering thug addict, okay? And it is very hard to stop doing something cold turkey that you've become addicted to, right? So I no longer date thugs. I'm dating squares now. So when you're talking to me, do me a favor and put a little bass in your voice. Like, be mean. Not mean for real, but mean just to please me in the moment. You get what I'm saying? Like, I need you to sound really assertive, like you mean it. Like role play a little bit. Now, don't go upside my head, but say things like, let's say you tell me to do something and I don't do it as fast. Be like, what I say? Tell me to shut the up. Tell me to go sit down somewhere. Like, when you say something to me, pretend like, you feel me? Because I be having withdrawals and I be like, he's too nice. And another thing, like, I know that you like to dress nice and wear these dry fit shirts. Can you put on a black hoodie? Can you sag your pants a little bit? I know you like to smell good, but can you spray the smell of a black and mild every now and then, just a whiff? At least put on some gray sweats and a white tee. Some Air Maxes. Tell me you gotta bust a few moves or make a few plays. Something. These are just things that I need as a recovering thug addict. And if that is just way too much to ask, I may ask you for a hall pass to go hit a few corners with my homie. Because that is the only way I'm going to scratch that itch. Let me just call one of my homies and take a ride with him, hit a few corners, make a few plays, and then I'll be back and I'm all yours. No? And one last thing, can you turn your music up when you play it? Turn it up, turn the bass up. If not, we're going to get at least 412s, okay? Because I can't do these stock speakers anymore. I know some Migos who got a shop. I can call them up. They'll hook you up with 412s, 215s, whatever you want. Another subwoofer, a new amp, something. But the stock speakers, we got to get those out of there. We got to get them out. So I say all that to say, as a recovering thug addict, if I ask you to do any of the things that you have heard in this video, please do it, brother. Please help me. Help me scratch this itch. Going cold turkey when you have been addicted to anything can be very hard. So please cut me a break. Stop enunciating all your words so perfectly. Just need you to look a little rough, a little rugged, like you've been trapping all day or something, like you've been busting a few moves. Go to the bank, pull out a wad. When you come home, throw that wad on the dresser, along with a lighter and possibly some other things that a thug would have in his pocket. You're going to have to get your acting skills on. Put some basil in a baggie. I beg of thee. Tie that thing up. Throw it on the dresser. Let me see it, please. Thank you.
So basically, you still want the same type of man, but a lot gentler. You're too old. Your body is too old, I should say, for somebody to continue hitting on you and knocking you around. You're taking too many power bombs. Too many men have put you in a headlock or tombstoned you, right? And now you're looking for that same sort of dynamic, but without so much of the knocking you around and messing you about. Essentially, what you're doing is what older people do, seasoned people do, when they want a low impact workout. That's really what you want. Still want to burn some calories, do a little sweating, but I just want something a little bit easier on the knees, a little bit easier on the back. That's what you sound like.
Men do not value convenience or ease. If they did, then why do so many marriages where the woman's main job is to make a man's life easy through raising his kids, cooking his meals, doing his laundry, keeping the house clean, end in divorce?
Some of what she's referencing is when a woman does everything for her husband and takes care of him so much that it almost becomes like mothering. I can see men kind of losing respect for their wife if she does everything for him, treats him like a child.
They love challenges and they love working hard to earn something. So be that to a man. Be his problem to solve. Be his challenge to win over. And take all of that energy that you've been putting into making his life better and put it back into.
The way she puts it is, don't give to him anymore. Start taking for yourself. I think that's an unhealthy message. But let your husband provide luxuries for you. Let him raise your standard of living. Let him do that for you, and then you can sit back and just receive that. Yes, that's good for both of you. Create problems and make his life challenging and harder. No, that's not healthy.
I probably have overlooked a good candidate before, like maybe,
why is that though?
Me thinking the timing thing, maybe prioritizing career. I definitely was always like work.
This is real small. Y'all know me, though. I like accountability and I like it to the utmost. I appreciate that she put it out there. That the prioritizing career. What I do want to point out though, and ladies, this is for your communication skill, okay? To tune up your communication and to tune up your responsibility and accountability, which is very attractive. The whole I probably overlooked the right candidate. I think Claudia has thought about this enough to know that, you probably have someone in mind that you're thinking about. You probably have someone in mind. And I can only say probably because I'm not in your body and in your mind, but And I think that it's even a higher level of responsibility to say, I overlooked someone who would have been, I think, a good spouse for me. I think it's a higher level of responsibility, not to say, maybe I was prioritizing work, but I was prioritizing work. I put that over relationship, and I can see that.
Even if you guys didn't work out, I think she probably knows and understands that there was somebody that she probably should have tried a little bit harder with. Should have given more of a chance, should have seen it through a little bit more. And I think for a lot of women, they see when they look back, oh, shoot, man, I could have done this and still got my career taken care of. Man, I could have done X, Y, and Z and still have my family, right? But a lot of times society tells them to cut that stuff off and just focus on this over here. Don't worry about this, and over here. You want this, and I'm telling you, and they pump full of basically lies. And this is where you get at 52 years old. But once again, like Taylor was saying, good on her for taking accountability.
Okay, so I'm going to share something with you guys. I'm going to tell you up front, I am extremely uncomfortable sharing this video right now because it's very personal. If I'm in the business of calling out other women, I'm going to have to be in the business of calling out myself when I recognize things in myself that need to be worked on. I mean, I've known this for a little while, but it's just been a little more prevalent for me in the last month. I'm going to show you this. I'm going to show you a clip of this video. This woman is one of my absolute favorite speakers. I love to listen to her. Next to like Brene Brown, I love this woman. So I'm going to say it. Some of you aren't going to like it. I'm telling you, I'm really uncomfortable right now. But I'm being pulled to share this, so I'm going to share this. Here we go.
A woman is like, tell me the truth. And then you tell them a truth, and they don't like that truth. And they get really upset about that truth. And as a woman, because we're motivated to not upset people, they actually think that if you know how upset I am about what's true for you, you will change what's true for you. I really think that. But you guys are smarter than that. Because it's been true for you for a long time. And there were no problems until you told her.
Correlation. I told you, now there's a problem.
Now there's a problem. There was no problem before I was out loud about it. There's no problem at all. But women don't, since you're just a hairy woman, you're going to be motivated to not upset me, and you're going to change yourself in order to not upset me, just like I'm trying to change myself to not upset you. And really, honest men just stop telling the truth because it's not.
Now, as women, we say we want the truth all the time, right? Just tell me the truth. until the truth doesn't feel safe. And then we expect men to alter their reality and their truth to soften the blow for us. And as women, we do this because socially we are taught to manage emotions, not facts. Here's the problem. Men don't operate from emotional cushioning like women do. They operate from accuracy. So when we come in and we're demanding they change their reality so we feel safe, it's not communication. That's a control issue. Unfortunately, I have recognized this pattern in myself. Spending 15 years trying to stay one step ahead of somebody has completely hardwired my system into almost permanent fight or flight mode that I am currently working out. So when I hear communication that feels unsafe, that automatically triggers my fight or flight. And it turns into get them before they get me. Not a good pattern. I am working on it. And ladies, here's the part none of us want to talk about. That hypervigilance didn't protect me. I was betrayed anyway. All I did was create a pattern for myself that instead of listening and truly taking in a concern, I automatically hear, I'm not safe and I gotta go. Reacting from wounds that aren't fully healed turns truth into danger and accountability into attack. And unfortunately, when truth feels unsafe, intimacy can't be built. So ladies, men don't need to change the truth to soothe us. We need to heal that wound inside of us that mistakes honesty for harm. That's where our strength lies.
Well, most people want a pat on the back. That includes men and women. And so, when you give them the truth, they're like, okay, is there a treat in there for me? It's kind of like when you have a dog, when you teach them something, you got to give them a treat to reinforce the good behavior, right? So you want me to act good, you got to give me a treat. Kids are kind of the same way. If you want me to take this medicine, you got to put it in some candy. That is, at least until I learn how to take criticism. And I understand that as adults, you're expected to move past that phase of needing candy. Sometimes, especially in this world, people have beaten you down so much and they've said things to you to where you need the candy. I'm going to take the medicine, but I need you to put it in some candy, right? Especially when you're extremely hurt. You don't want any more pain or any more discomfort. That's just the natural state of the human mind and the human body. But I appreciate you for taking accountability. Miss, her husband passed away. Miss Allison Armstrong. She's pretty good at what she does. So she's out here doing a pretty good job. So you're not the only one that has to make some changes after listening to her.
I always say that less attractive women are less likely to get cheated on. They're likely to get a more loyal husband. They're likely to get a more loving husband because the men are actually choosing them for them. And more importantly, those men that choose the less attractive women and choose the women that are not so beautiful, usually the man isn't so hypersexual himself. He's somebody who looks for more connection, emotional stability, blah, blah. He's not looking for sex. So, she ends up with a very great man. So this is not a bad thing. It's just that men don't kid themselves into thinking she's the most beautiful girl in the world just because they've chosen her. They can still be aware she's not that attractive, but they can still love her. With us, when we love you, we actually do see you as super, super attractive, especially if you're funny.
You don't think that it might be that the woman is superficial? So she's attracting people that are superficial? That couldn't be it.
For the first time, possibly in history, women are admitting they want daughters, not sons.
Oh, don't worry. This is certainly going somewhere.
Having a son is seen as an extreme burden to women around the world.
Burdens, really? And how is raising a son different than raising a daughter?
You are expected to birth them, educate them, and shield them from conditioning from other boys. All this without acknowledgement.
Oh, so some women want acknowledgement for being a good parent? You would think that just being a good parent would be reward enough in itself.
In fact, that very same son may grow up to take his mother's rights away.
Oh, yes, there are a lot of individuals out there that will try to convince some women that they need to be fearful of their own children in the future. But may I be very specific? It's only the boys that they're talking about. They would never mention the girls.
Women globally are reaching a line of contention, refusing to give birth to life that may become a weapon against them, against other women. This is why movements like 4B exist.
Oh, because of ignorance, fear, and bigotry? Got it.
Women are refusing to birth their own oppressors.
See what I mean?
They are liberating themselves from a life of suffering. Sons are no longer the standard, daughters are.
I wonder how long it's going to be before boy moms start being harassed for having boys. Oh, wait. In case some of you didn't notice, that's already happening.
Let me tell y'all, the families I try to stay away from is the one where nobody got a man. You telling me you got 3 sisters, none of them got a man. Your mama ain't got a man. None of your aunties got a man. Your grandma don't got a man. Your great-grandma don't got a man. Godmother don't got a man. And we're going to add the best friend. Not the godmother. And your best friend don't got a fucking man. Nobody got a man. Nah, it's something there. It's some type of spirit, some negative energy. It's something around that family that is just keeping men away. And I would not be a part of it. It may be a generational curse. And she may be the one to break it, right? Yeah. That's good for her. I hope she does. I just will not be a part of that. You know what I'm saying? It's just some situations where it's like, I'm not going to make my life difficult. Plus, it's like, what advice could they get from everyone about y'all's relationship? Every single thing you do, they're just going to tell her she don't need a man. They're going to tell her that they all don't have men in their lives and they're fine. And they could be fine. But it's just like, is that the advice I want my girl hearing? No. I can only imagine the mental and emotional trauma that a dude would go through trying to be involved in that family.
I mean, dude got a point. But the only thing I have a problem with is that there are many women and men in this world that has went through the worst, bad childhood or whatever the case is. But that does not mean that predicts their future. That does not mean that they would not be something in life. That does not mean that they can't be a wife or a husband. Because many of us have been taught, women especially, that we don't need a man. We are independent. We need to make sure we have different accounts just in case a man want to cheat. You could go ahead and leave. You ain't got to worry about that. You ain't got to wait around. You can just take the kids from him, get alimony. I mean, even women that have a dad in their life, here's that same thing. So it's not just a family you have to worry about. It's just the society. So maybe you need to, whenever you do get a girl, just shut her out from the internet. Shut her out from music videos. Shut her out from movies that are demonstrating this type of lifestyle because it's everywhere. And at the same time, just get someone that does not want that type of life. What do you guys think about the situation? Is he right or wrong?
I was going to say that same thing. There's women with dads out here with mom and dad in their life that's still on this BS. That's still on this BS. I was about to say it would take an extreme amount of discipline, an extreme amount of understanding for them not to go into defense mode and say, oh, well, if he's doing this, protect yourself and do that, and already game planning. And she's already going into the relationship looking for the pitfalls and the potholes. And she's already, because all she knows is what you tell her, because you're the only person that she knows. I mean, yeah, she love him, but the only person that she knows is you. And she know, well, I'm alive now. So, maybe I don't like everything that mama say, grandmama say, great grandmama, godmother say, but I'm alive. I'm here. So, I mean, what do? I want to keep living. I'd rather this than that. That's what a lot of modern women do. I'd rather not be in the danger that you speak of than to, kind of go into the unknown. It's the fear of the unknown, right? And like she said, it could be somebody with a mom and a dad that be on this same type of BS. So what is their level of maturity and understanding and ability to help and guide and assist in relationships?
Now, if you came up on this internet and said that all men are rapists and abusers, right? If you came up on here and said that on your page, then you would just say it on your page because I don't care about you. I don't go on your page. I don't know you. I don't care what you say. I don't care what you think. But at the end of the day, you would just be saying that your dad is a rapist and abuser, your husband is a rapist and abuser, your son is a rapist and abuser. And if that's what you feel about your dad, your husband and your son, then who am I to tell you any different? If that's what if your dad is a rapist and abuser, then I'm sorry for you. I feel bad for your mom. I feel bad for the abuse that he has given to you. You know what I mean? If that's what you feel. Because at the end of the day, I don't care about you. I don't care what you post. And for everybody commenting, oh, she just hates black women, fine, I do. I despise them. Okay, there. Now what? What, you're gonna come fight me? What you gonna do? There's nothing that you can do, and there's nothing that you can say. Only thing y'all can do is to keep returning to my page and tell me that you don't like it. And I'm going to keep saying what I want to say Monday through goddamn Sunday as long as I'm alive, because it's my page. If you don't like it and you don't agree with it, cool. You can keep commenting all you want and I'll keep responding all I want. But at the end of the day, y'all can't say that I'm making up lies. Where am I lying? You guys keep like, she's a liar, she's a liar. I may be a lot of things, but a liar is not one of them, I promise you.
I was a stay-at-home mom for many, many years, and I recently had somebody say, well, your husband worked so that you could stay at home. No, my husband would have worked regardless if he had a family or not. And I didn't get to work. I chose to stay at home because, of course, as a mom, you want to raise your children. But I did sacrifice building my career, having retirement, developing and networking and all of those things. That was a sacrifice that I made. My husband, he continued the course of his life, finishing college, getting a job. His life really went unaltered, besides he had a wife at home, cooking, cleaning, taking care of the kids and children and a family, which actually benefits men. And I think it just irks me when people don't value the work that women do and to say, well, you get to stay at home. Like it's, something, a gift that's given to you and someone else on, someone else's behalf. But regardless if you have a wife or family, kids, you still are going to work. So it's not like you're going to work just for them and as some act of, martyrdom. That's not the case. Everybody has to figure out how to provide for themselves, family or not. I wouldn't have chosen any other thing. This cat, obviously, I wouldn't have chosen any other thing. I am glad I got to be home with my kids, but whenever that it's not appreciated or acknowledged that it was a sacrifice to do so, that is whenever I am mad about.
So you just picked another avenue of work. He would have been working, but he might not have been working as much. He might have called in sick and not had to do all of that if he were single. So yes, he would have been working. You would have been working. But a lot of the stuff that, I didn't get to do, you need help. You really need help at this point in time. Cut the camera off. Really, honestly and truly. Nobody wants to hear this foolishness anymore. This BS. Looks like you're taken care of. Looks like you're doing well. And you sitting up here low-key complaining. Just be quiet. Like this is what men get tired of. The constant complaining, the constant foolishness. I go out there, bust my behind, and you get your silly behind on the internet talking stupid, just pure ignorance, downplaying what I do for the family. Well, he gets to do this. Just stop talking. Quit talking. Nobody wants to hear you. What you're saying right now isn't important. Y'all need to figure out different ways, and y'all say y'all are good at communication. Y'all want a man to communicate to you. Y'all need to figure out different ways to communicate what you're trying to communicate, get across what you're trying to get across without tearing other people down. Period. Y'all get mad at men when men go in on you, but you sit up here, get your silly behind on the internet, start talking crazy to them. Start talking crazy about him. I want a man to protect my relationship. I want a man to protect this marriage, to cover me and fight for me. And then you get online and you blast him. You tell him, well, he was going to work anyway. I mean, what he doing? But I didn't get to do that. He gets to go out and do this, and this. Are you insane? If your man heard this video, how would he feel? Well, I showed it to him. How would he feel? Better yet, because people tend to say, oh, well, it's all right, man. I've got a problem with that. How would you feel if somebody put out a video like this about you and said, well, As a mom, she's not really all that great of a help to me. I would love it if she could cook and clean 5 days out the week. You know, she's getting upset about having to cook and clean. You are already going to cook and clean. You are already going to cook and clean. You are already going to do that. So, you know, you're just doing more of that. Just do it for me in this capacity. What's the issue? You would be upset and you would say, well, it don't seem like you really appreciate the fact that not only am I not cooking chicken nuggets, now I'm saying, okay, we can have chicken nuggets as a little snack. But for dinner, I'm planning these things out. I want the babies to have this portion of vegetables, this portion of a starch, this portion of a protein. And I don't want it to be monotonous. So I'm looking up different recipes, different quick things so that when you get home, basically I'm managing multiple schedules. When you get home, I got dinner on the table. It's hot and fresh. I can keep it ready for you. And I can also get the kids taken care of. So when you get to the house, you just pick up your dinner from the crock pot or the stove, oven, whatever it is. And then you heat it up if you need to, just a little bit. But I want it to be hot and fresh for you when you get to the house. Right? I'm managing your schedule as well as the kid's schedule. I'm managing their nutritional needs as well as your nutritional needs when you want it. I'm doing all of these things because I love you and I care about you. If a man downplayed that, how would you feel? Take that information and then say, okay, well, maybe I should be a little bit more appreciative of what he does and how hard he works for our family.
I'm sorry, guys, I'm not going to be nice about it anymore. What is going on? Let me ask a question. The normal thing to do is to say, what about you? Back. We can't make it any easier. I'm just supposed to keep asking you questions and guys, you ask all the questions. You guys are like, oh my God, I like this girl so much. I'm like, no, you don't. You just like talking about yourself. Sorry. I'm sorry. I had to say it. Am I wrong?
Yes, you are wrong because it sounds like you're asking specific questions in order so you can talk about that particular point. Have you guys ever met a person like that? They want to tell you about their job, so they're asking you about your job. That's what it sounds like you're doing, but it's normal to ask questions if you want to know more about the person. But if you show up on a date, a hinge date, for example, and you immediately don't like the person, you feel like the person is catfishing, in your case, in this lady's case, I feel like that would be the issue, is that she's catfishing because the way she looks in this video, I'm sure she doesn't show up in a date like that. So I'm sure she doesn't have pictures like that on her, wherever her profile is. She probably have dolled up pictures, and then she shows up like that, and they're like, and men aren't mean. Men aren't gonna say, or most men aren't gonna say to your face, hey, this, you just ain't cutting it, or you catfish me. They'll just sit through the date and talk as less as possible. So if he's not asking questions, it's quite possibly he doesn't want to know the answer. The other thing is, are you assuming that everything you ask, he wants to know? This is another thing, and you find this with career women. They ask about career and ask about all these different questions about your career because they want you to ask that to them, and the man just may not be interested in that. So I would say it depends on the question too. And then the last point is, if he's not asking questions and you keep asking questions, how about this? Stop asking him questions. Why don't you just start saying what you want to say? So if you ask him a question and then he answers it, this is a comeback. So you ask a question about a job or about a career. And then he answers it. Oh, that's interesting. Wow, I didn't know that about so-and-so, whatever his career is. And then you say, as for me, and then you just start to go into what you want to say.
A lot of these women, Doc, they like you said, they want to talk about themselves. They want to talk about themselves and what they got going on, which to a degree you expect that, right? But for some of these women, they think they're deep. They think what there's, oh man, I want a long, deep, meaningful conversation. And really they asked a basic question. It's just that you talk so much and you use so many different words, I guess, that you didn't heard online. I can't even say that they've learned in therapy, because you can learn a plethora of terms that don't even exist online and then start using them in real life. And that man might have clocked you and like, oh, you wanted him. Yeah, I want this and that. I believe in social, predictable, emotional, cognitive, therapeutical intelligence. Oh, you wanted him. Check, please. Check, please. I mean, you could get up and leave, but like you said, why would you want to be rude?
One of the most interesting things I've had women tell me throughout the years is that their standards for like a casual hookup are much higher than their standards for a relationship. Now, I'm not saying all women are like this, but like I've talked to multiple women, and it's so crazy to me because I feel like objectively it should be the opposite. Imagine there's someone who's chopped, right? And they're like a candidate for me. If you found out I cracked someone who was chopped, you'd be like, but like, yeah, you know, it happens. A rough day. But if I get with somebody romantically and date them for an extended period of time and they're chopped, you're losing all respect for me. So I'm wondering, I'm like, bro, like from the woman's perspective, why?
I see men talk about this topic a lot, but I rarely hear a woman's perspective on it. And so I wanted to kind of give my thoughts and observations that I've seen. So my first observation, and this is just based off of what I've seen, and I'm a woman who has kind of dabbled in various sex positive communities with a lot of women. In my personal opinion, I don't think that most women actually desire casual sex that much. They might desire it like once in a blue moon, but generally speaking, I do think that most women prefer long-term relationships, or at least they prefer the potential for something casual to turn into a long-term relationship. So for a lot of women, when they choose to hook up with this, super, super hot guy to them, but are unwilling to hook up with other guys, I do think in a lot of scenarios, it's less about just being so attracted to the guy that she just like really wants to sleep with him immediately, and more that she feels like because that guy has so many options and a lot of women are willing to sleep with him on the first date, there is this sort of insecurity and feeling that if she doesn't make herself stand out against the other women, a lot of women know that a lot of men value sex a lot. I do think that they're doing it because they want the lottery ticket scenario of trying to get this guy that they view as like super, super up here hot to end up wanting a relationship with them. I think sometimes there's just a huge disconnect about how men and women view attraction, because a lot of women can be attracted to a man and still not really desire to sleep with him until she gets to know him more. But she would be down to go on a date with him, to get to know him better, to share a kiss at the end of the first date. There is an attraction there. But it's kind of similar to certain women who will say that they only feel like a man really would like her if he's willing to take her to a fancy restaurant on the first date or spend a bunch of money on her. Now, both of these are not really true, right? But I do think that where a lot of women get that notion is because they will see other types of women who are like very, very physically attractive, like up here with it. And they will see how certain types of men are willing to treat that woman when they view her as like this top tier woman when it comes to her physical looks. But in reality, there's probably a lot of other women that those men would have been attracted to. But we can't deny in our society that people get different benefits based off of how like extremely attractive that we find them. Because even if some men say, oh, even if she didn't look like Megan Fox, I still wouldn't, spend hundreds of dollars on a first date. I still think that most men are still going to do a lot more and put a lot more effort into a first date with a woman who he's like up here attracted to versus a woman that he finds cute, but he's not like viewing her as just like the hottest woman in the room. And I think a lot of men can understand this when it's kind of like on their side. And to be fair, women are guilty of this too. I think that both genders have this sort of fantasy of being the dream man or the dream woman purely based off of your looks that your partner is just initially like sprung off of. But I feel like the unfortunate reality is that a lot of people are going to end up in long-term relationships with people that they genuinely find attractive, like they genuinely are attracted to them. But do I think that most people are going to end up with people who are like their ideal 10 just based off of looks, like taking personality out of it, not holistically, like just based off of looks? I don't think so. I think that most people are probably going to end up in relationships with people who they are attracted to. Holistically, that person is the best option for them over some of the people that they might have been willing to pull out all of the stops for, put in all this initial upfront effort for, because you sort of viewed that person as a status symbol. But a lot of times, I'm not saying all the time, I do think a lot of times the most conventionally attractive people up here, they're kind of more easily able to develop an ego, and sometimes they kind of lack on the long-term relationship qualities because they're used to sort of getting their way and getting a bunch of people bending over backwards for them. The other thing I have noticed as somebody who dates both men and women is I do think that women are more likely to grow attraction to somebody based off of proximity and familiarity and building an emotional connection and really getting to know them. Whereas I do see more men kind of decide very early on whether they're attracted to somebody. And I'm not saying that it can't grow, but I do think in cases, even when it does grow, there usually was some baseline attraction to begin with. Whereas I've seen a lot more women not be attracted to somebody at all when meeting them and then end up becoming very attracted to them when they spent more time with them. I'm somebody who most of the long-term things or relationships that I've had with men have been mostly with men who were within my league when it comes to looks. However, when it comes to women that I've been in relationships with, I've dated a few women who were significantly above my league when it comes to looks. And usually that was in situations where we were friends for a while and they got to know me in different environments. And I think it can be hard for men to sometimes understand because for women, they don't feel like they're settling. They just didn't have those feelings before. And then they got to know the person more and they really, really started to like them. They started to feel a strong attraction to them when they just did not feel those feelings before. And I'm not even saying that you shouldn't only want to date people who found you attractive instantly, because some of those situations where the women were interested in me later, I ended up kind of feeling insecure. And so I do understand that. I do think there are some situations that men might view as settling when in reality, the woman just genuinely grew a strong attraction to that person based off of getting to know them. I think the last thing is just that even when we're talking about a casual encounter, there's often a huge disparity between how many women owe during a casual hookup versus men being willing to owe. Men just risk a lot less. They have less danger risk when they engage in a casual hookup. They're not the ones getting pregnant. It's harder for them based off of anatomy to catch something. They owe easier. They get more societal status for being able to sleep with multiple women. So I understand that a lot of men might not like it, but I do think this is the reason that women raise their standards for looks when it comes to, guys that they just want to hook up with. Because part of this, guys, is also your problem because you also lower your standards when it comes to looks for casual hookups. And I'm not saying you can't have any dating preferences that you want. I'm just kind of explaining, I think, the thought process behind it. It might be very controversial and unpopular, but if you actually look at it logically and not just from an emotional standpoint, all of this kind of makes sense. This might be a controversial take, but let me know what you guys think. Bye.
So basically, this would be the woman's form of simping. Basically, okay, I'm putting this man up on a pedestal. Not necessarily that I want to do this right now, but I see everybody else is doing it. And, I'm trying to make him see that you put me in the running, put me in the game, coach. Basically, she can't do what I can, or I can give you the same benefits. And I'm willing to do it right off the bat, but then also look at all these other benefits. It's basically I have to make a huge investment. You seem like the guy that everybody wants. The same thing if you were to apply at Meta or Amazon or Netflix. Everybody wants these jobs. Microsoft too, I think. Everybody wants these jobs. They're high paying jobs, but they don't really understand a lot about how toxic the culture is. So that's where you run into the issue, is a lot of these companies, from what you hear, will use you up and then just let you go. Right. So you get paid, but it might be for 3 months. You might be thinking, I think there was a woman that was like, man, I guess this could happen in any job, but she was like, man, I moved across country, just got my apartment, just signed the lease, and they fired me. They let me go. We're going through mass layoffs. And so you hear stuff like that, and it's very disheartening. But because these companies, they know the kind of pull that they have, then this is how they treat people. This is how they treat people, to be honest with you. And it's not healthy. It's not right. But they do it anyway because they know that they kind of had the cachet to do that. And so what you're saying is Chad and Tyrone know that they have the cachet to do it. I think what most men are probably saying, and they kind of say this in a version to men as well. So they would say, hey, you know, if you know, specifically speaking to a woman, if you know Chad and Tyrone are toxic, why would you apply for the job? If you know that you're probably going to be back out in the street after a one night stand, why would you apply for the job? Like you get no benefits from it. And so you start to resort to, oh, well, at least I got something from it. At least he gave me a bag, or at least he gave me a free dinner at a nice steakhouse that I've been wanting to try for months. He let me drive or ride in an Uber Black. He drives a nice car. I got to ride in it. He was really a gentleman. At least I was treated like a lady for a night compared to these other men. And then there was another one where you say, well, at least I got to sleep with a hot man. And a lot of these women want to, but they never do. But I had the chance. And I'm going to tell my grandkids, no, don't tell your grandkids that. Don't. That's not. But they do it as sort of a coping mechanism. And this is what men say to other men. Hey, this woman don't really like you. Stop spending. And this is exactly what men are saying. She don't like you. Stop spending your money on her. Quit simping. She's not going to give you the job. Leave her alone. Go for a woman that likes you. If you just dead set on trying to get this woman, go get your money up. Become a quote unquote high value man, and maybe she'll pay attention to you. I'm not doing all that. If you don't like me, I'm not messing with you. If you don't like me, I'm not talking to you. Is that to say that I've never done something and been like, oh, I would like to go for this lady and done something over and above? No, I think everybody, pretty much every person that's interacted with a woman has said, I'm really interested. And if I can just get her to see how good of a person I am, then she'll like me. And so you'll spend money and say, hey, you need help with this trip? I'll help you out. Or, hey, you need help with this or that? I'll help you out. And when she doesn't, then you're like, oh, okay, well, she doesn't really like me. And then you move on. I think what men are trying to say is, before you even go down that road, or before you get too far down that road, just understand it's probably not going to turn out. Even though they're telling you to approach, even though they're telling you to continue to, well, nobody else is approaching me, so what do you have to lose? Even though they're telling you that, don't fall for it. Quit simping.